Rolling death. Right, everybody, we'll just stand for the karakia and we'll get the meeting underway.
Te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e ia ke ana te atakura, he te au he huka, he hauhunga, te hei mauri ora.
Thank you, everybody. With that, we will start the meeting at 4:32 p.m. So first up, we have apologies. We have an apology from Bridget Williams and Sam McDonald, and an apology for lateness from Aaron Kewen. David to move. Lucy to second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Number 2, declarations of interest. There have been no declarations noted so far, but if anything comes up during the meeting, just flag it with us at the time. Moving on to there, it's number 3, confirmation of previous minutes. Can I have a mover for the confirmation? And David to second. All in favour? Against? Carried.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Right, with that, we move on to item number 4, being our public forums. First up today, we have Mark Teasdale from Hollylee Village talking about roadside landscaping. If you'd like to come up and take a seat.
I'm Graham Wilkinson. I'm the owner of Generous, which is the owner of Hollylee.
Yep.
This is Mark Teasdale. He's our development manager. What we're here today to do is seek your support in terms of some of the landscaping we're intending to do or want to do. I know that actually before I do that, I just want to just quickly thank also David for your sterling work in relation to getting through a bylaw issue to allow us to build a new cafe. So thank you very much for that. And in this particular issue, I think if I'm having consulted with one of our advisors, Don Miskell, many of you will know, when the road was widened to some degree, the trees and the gardens, with previously gardens and people's properties, became into public realm. Over time, some of those trees have grown up on a haphazard basis. They've disrupted the footpath. We've had some discussions with council about at our cost, relaying and doing the asphalting and getting it all level, because for older people it's clearly not an ideal situation, and at the same time putting some structure back into that, which was clearly not ever intended to be outside of a facility such as this. So I think you've even got some plans of what we think how it looks like at the moment, how we think it could look like. Taken some examples of some different lime trees, etc. in the area, and you just flip through those. We're really saying we're seeking a recommendation from the community board that what we're doing makes a lot of sense. Mark, you want to make
so that's the current condition of the site. So there's 17 trees kind of in question here that our arborist has been through, assessed the varying nature of them, and as I understand it, the trees are in fair rating are assessed by the community board. Those of a poor quality can be improved by council officers. So it's a combination of both here. Scroll through to the next. This is kind of the state of the footpath. Over time, it's just patched up, and there's a number of these trees planted very close to it. So what we sort of initially started a path of, well, let's just sort of beautify it and work with what we've got. And getting Don involved, he said, well, why don't you take a bigger view, longer term view to this and do it properly? So this would involve new footpath and new plantings throughout. So, and as Graham said, we'll meet the cost of that to smooth the path and make sure that the outcome is complete and not done in a piecemeal way. Next slide has the plan. That's the existing kind of planting plan. Here, next slide. We'll take it through to a more simplified as Dom said, which was really intended, that the tree planting all the way sort of Memorial Ave, Fendalton to Hagley Park would be more consistent. Next slide. Yeah, this is sort of some of what Dom was looking at around South Hagley Park in terms of the European lime trees, giving trees of a decent scale space to grow. Next slide there. And, you know, that's kind of how it could look like with trees of sort of 6 metre size, although they'll grow much bigger in time. But because we create that decent berm for them to grow on, they'll no longer be a problem for the footpath. So that's the broad strategy, and we've met with David on site to sort of go over this with Dom. But it was really sort of seek your endorsement for a general approach to this.
Okay, great. Any questions, James?
Yeah, just a quick one for that. So thank you very much for the presentation. And obviously, you know, it as an enterprise, it's in your interest to have it presented well and to enhance the streetscape and the visual amenity value, and very generous for you, you know, to do this at your cost. 2 questions. One, in terms of sort of the operational maintenance, would you propose that that would then sit within the council realm, given, I guess, the initial capital expense would be this? And if that's not the case, let me know. And then secondly, are there any roadblocks to executing this plan as it stands, because it looks pretty sympathetic and I guess a net positive outcome to the community? So I'd be disappointed if there
The first one is that, to be frank, we'll end up maintaining it because we'll probably do it more than you would. If I can be polite, and so it's in our interest. Okay, so that's the second one. Is yes, there's obviously needs to be a bit of a deep dive in terms of services and the like. However, there is existing, you know, we're moving with where the footpath is, so there will need to be some investigations, and they may, you know, but there's currently large trees with large roots in that area, and so it's unlikely to be, you know, mission killer.
David?
Well, guys, just so thank you to Mark for taking me through it yesterday. I've walked that area. I fully support us moving in that direction. I've explained around our policy around 2 trees for everyone we remove, and that they don't necessarily need to go in that area. We'll find somewhere in Christchurch because trees are important. And we'll talk through the servicing issues and all the bits and pieces. So I'm fully behind it.
Any other questions from any of the board members? No? Okay.
Thanks.
So just for your context, we'll you know, pass this communication on through staff and get some feedback from them. We're not in a position to make a decision here now, but it seems like a pretty pragmatic plan, and you know, I think a few of the board members have.
One thing, if I can, now is the perfect time to plant trees. So if there could be a sense of urgency, it would be great.
Okay. Right, Aidan, can we please raise that with staff, and then we'll get back to you with what we can do next.
Thank you very much.
Great, thanks for coming in. Next up, we had 4.2, Simon Markham, talking about Woodbury Street. So, 5 minutes, including time for question.
Sure. Kia ora koutou, ko Simon Markham toko whenua. I'm a resident, as you see, on Woodbury Street, and I just wanted to talk with you around a couple of specific street maintenance and capital renewal issues. I understand you've got some prioritising of streets capital renewal coming up, so I thought it was an opportunity just to brief you. Very quickly, Woodbury Street's pretty regular street, but in autumn time it enjoys the amenity of these trees, although we recognise that this creates an additional maintenance workload for the council, but it adds to the amenity. So just want to take you first to Woodbury Cuts intersection, and this is the before photo, and this kind of hung around as a damaged roundabout for about a year or so. A large truck had obviously crunched the pavers, and the street sign had been damaged, and there were only a couple left after a period of time. So I do want to thank Aidan and Sam McDonald for getting a response on this. On the left is the first stage, which involved removal of all the rubble and asphalting by the streets guys as a maintenance item. And the second on the right is the regularization and completion of the street siding. So it's certainly a much tidier situation at the present time. But we're left with one quadrant in tarmac and the other 3 in pavers. So when you think about roundabouts in the renewals context, it would be good to see that sort of regularized as a unified design. Obviously, that means also dealing with the approaches, which are also aging pavers. So just wanted to alert you to that as a flag from a local point of view. Second, Woodbury Street. So we've had quite a bit of curb and channel displacement. Part of this dates back to the quates, but most of it relates to the street trees. So there's a bit of a double-edged sword. We enjoy the amenity of that, but it does, after 20 odd years of tree root growth, have some consequences in terms of displacements of the curb and channel. And I understood that resealing of Woodbury Street was possibly coming up in the next couple of years. So what we see in times after rainfall is quite a lot of surface water hanging around. And you see on the right there the extent of the displacement. In particular, at the top, they're a little bit obscure, but there are a couple of top-down images of curb and channel of the curb. One next to my vehicle, the other a little bit further along, and they've had some repair works done to them over the years, but those are crumbling as well. So those are just a couple of smaller streets issues from our point of view that we'd like to see figuring in the capital renewal considerations. Thanks very much.
Any questions from anyone on that one? No?
I was just with the roundabout at Woodbury Street with the, now as the pavers and the,
Yes.
Are you suggesting that it all be pavers or all?
Well, some kind of regularization. I mean, and if you're going to consider the roundabout, then it's also the surface treatment on the approaches as well.
Yeah.
So I had a performed view about what that might look like. There's a level of service consideration and an expenditure consideration, but it's frankly time for a tidy up and a renewal of that particular roundabout. Okay.
Yeah, we'll pass that information on to staff and that request, and then we'll work with the local board team in the area, and then get back to you with what we can do and when.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Aidan, could I just get my stick? Thank you.
Right, with that, we move on to deputations by appointment. And the first one we have is Christine Costa talking to item number 7 being the Jeffreys Reserve bike jump. Christine, you're welcome to take a seat.
Skiora. As I wrote in my written submission, I've been a long-term resident. I use the park every day in many facilities as a dog walker, as a tennis player, as a bike rider myself. So I have absolutely no antagonism towards bike using people, but I do object to this blot on the landscape out here, this pretty disgusting lump of dirt that I see every day, and that has been mentioned many times in the submissions. That has said that bike dirt jumps and the rest of the park users just do not mix. There has been safety issues with dogs, with little children that play in the playground here. And as you can see, the bike jump is no longer used. A flurry of activity at the beginning. And just reading some of the Tamariki's submissions, we basically said that if we got the jump, we would keep it in good condition and ride it a lot. Another one of our main points is that the jump would be for any skill level. This bike jump has been modified. It is not a flat table jump at all. It is basically quite a dangerous jump. Any responsible parent of a young child wouldn't let them go near there. Hopefully, you've all had the opportunity to walk through the park and look at this. I do wonder if you do regularly use the park or whether you're relying on these submissions here. Yeah, it was even made a school exercise, a presentation, and I would like to know if Mr. Peter Fowler, the Deputy Principal, has actually had a look at it recently. What is happening now, we now have a solid working jump for bikes and scooters. We use it after school and most weekends. We work hard and maintain it most days. We have so much fun riding the jump. I dispute that. There's no one on there walking down to Fendalton Park. That's where all the action is on these illegal bike jumps next door to the playground there. Please do not make it into an asphalt area. You're going to have more accidents happening, hard surface. And not only that, you're going to have motorbikes, you're going to have scooters, you're going to have a rough element as well coming to take part there. There is facilities up at Jelly Park, so why aren't they using that? Why are they specifically asking for safety's sake, but what about the safety of the rest of us park users? I noticed as well with alarm, $15,500 to develop an asphalt jump. Turn right up here on Clyde Road, go 100 metres down the road, and you come to Bryn Warehousing Estate, where they have problems even putting food on the table, let alone buying a bicycle. Those children are not involved in this community project at all. As I say, please think seriously and think about the wider community, not just an exclusive little group of Fendalton Tamariki. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to say if anyone had any questions for you on that one just before. Questions on that deputation? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can we say something here at the back?
Beg your pardon? Are you down to do a deputation at all?
Because I only heard about this yesterday.
Okay, well, I can potentially make some time for you after our next. We've got 2 more deputations on this one. If you'd like to speak to the agenda item, you can speak after those 2.
It is about the bike ramp.
Yep. Yeah, we'll just finish the 2 more that we have scheduled, and then you can just you can speak after that. Okay.
Excuse me, we can't really hear what people are saying.
Well, we can speak up a little bit, but other than that, we can't do much about it, unfortunately. So we'll try and speak up a little bit more, and we'll ask the deputations if they can speak at a higher tone as well. Okay, so the second up we had Jane Merritt.
That's correct.
Yep. Oh, so you are on the list here to speak. Yep. So you must have reached out to the team and they got you on the list. So
I rang the Christchurch Council today.
Well, you're scheduled. You're up now. So if you'd like to come and take a seat and speak to it, then there we go. We moved you up the queue.
It's my first time I've ever complained to the council. I just want you to know.
Oh, that's fine. Glad you're exercising your democratic rights.
Right. It's about the bike situation here in this park. Number one, I'll just do factual things. I'm not going to go into anything about personal or anything like that. Number one is the violence. They don't use the bike ramp up at Jelly Park because of the violence. The kids have told me that because I walk in this park every day for the last 35 years. so I know what's going on. And I've had two lots of children tell me this, that they won't go and use the Jelly Park bike ramp. So that concerns me, that if you put a ramp in there, that you will bring that violence, transfer that violence from Jelly Park down to here. And that could be on the cards. We've already had quite a bit of crime in this area. So I just feel that, no. Number two is the health and safety situation. We've got a children's park playground right here, right in front of you here. And the park, the bike park would be there. So it's really bang up practically next to the children's playground park. And lots of toddlers running around here, little bikes, everything. They come all across the park. Also, the children from Fendalton School use this park a lot. I don't know if you know that, but they do. Also, the Fijian church down Jeffreys Road uses this park quite a bit. So I think, and also then you have all the rest of the general public, like the elderly people in their walking frames and everything, they all walk around and use this park. And that's really important because to those people at their age. I did have some notes I did, not very good at this. But I think the main thing that what really worries me most of all is the violence. And, you know, it's all right to say, we'll put it in, okay, fine and everything, but who's going to monitor it? And who's going to look after it? The public, if they see things going on, they're not good. If they dash into the Christchurch Library and ask people to come out and help them, I don't think the Christchurch Library people would want to do that, would you? Especially if there was someone there with a knife. So, you know, I don't think you realise how serious the other one has been at Jelly Park. And my binge about that is put Jelly Park right first. Then build the bike ramp for these children. And there's plenty of place at Fendalton Park in the front there, behind the sculpture there. There's a big area. You could put it there or Burnside Park. There's plenty of area at Burnside Park. This is not a sports field or for athletics, or it's not used for sports anymore. It used to be. This park used to be used for rugby and that, and it's not anymore. And we used to have a policeman here quite frequently. He is not. I haven't seen him for months, for years. Okay? So I'm just putting my point forward, and I'm a user of this park, and I felt I was entitled to say after 35 years of living here, and I hope you do the right thing and leave the park as it is for the children, for all the dogs and all the rest of the people all around. All right? Okay.
Thank you very much. Just do we have any questions really quickly on that one? All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Right, now, third up we have Peter Fowler talking to the Jeffreys Reserve bike jump as well. And for Peter, 5 minutes, including time, 10 minutes, including time for questions.
Kia ora koutou, ko Pete Fowler, toka winga, I'm the DP at Cobham Intermediate. And just a little bit of foregrounding. Many people at the table here know a little historically what happened. It was a student-led initiative, a bunch of boys who wanted to build a bike jump. And they really got behind the project. They came here, they put some submissions, and fortunately for them, the council agreed to give them a pile of dirt, which they built into a bike jump. So What happened for those boys is unbelievable, really, what it did for those fellows. They gained some significant mana over just the idea of it. They presented to the whole school, 650 children. They completely nailed it. They were year 8s, most of them, and it's fair to say they have moved on. So as year 8 boys will do, I've contacted some of them since, and they don't use this jump as much as they did a year ago. However, they're still very supportive of the idea of it. So I think we need to bear in mind that that group had great enthusiasm for it. Doesn't mean to say that the next group of 11, 12, 13-year-olds won't. I think if there's a permanent fixture there, then it'll be something that will attract those boys and girls for that matter. A point to remember, I think, is even though these fellows have moved on, their parents say that they were very much, there's a lot of self-development from those boys, and not just building the jump for themselves, but creating something that the whole community of boys could use, and girls. So why are there no students here today? Well, that's a little bit of miscommunication. We did gather a group of around 18 year 7, 8 boys at the school earlier on in the year. We anticipated that this opportunity would have happened a month ago, and I've been away on a conference and so on and so forth. So there is significant interest, certainly amongst our cohort of students, but we weren't able to gather them to bring along today. So that's basically the perspective that we have.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any questions on that one? No? One from Aaron.
Just quickly, so on the change from clay to asphalt, from my recollection, when they originally submitted, they just wanted the clay ramp, they'd shape it and do their thing and play on it for a while. Why did they not ask for an asphalt one if that's what was?
Yeah, that's a good point. As I say, some of these boys have now moved on, so we don't have direct contact with them.
Because they get in trouble if they tried reshaping an asphalt one.
Well, they would, yeah. And it's interesting, when they did reshape that one significantly over a period of time. So the point's been made that you can drive past here and not see it used very much, but I can tell you that first 5 or 6 months, they were there all the time. Not just that group of boys, but others too. So what's the story? You build it, they'll come, would be my feeling about it. Yeah. But of course, an asphalt one takes away the business of being able to manipulate it to the way you want it. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Right, our next deputation is Annie Aim, talking on the bus stop upgrades.
Yes, that's me, actually.
Again, 10 minutes, including time for questions.
Go over in 3.
Okay.
Anyway, hi everyone. I am speaking on behalf of nearly 500 residents living in the Somerset Retirement Village, which is opposite a bus stop number 1999 Cavendish Road in Casebrook. Now, I have been crying out for a bus shelter over the past several years. Phone calls to many different city council staff, emails, plus visits to the main council building and getting nowhere until I spoke to council employee Mansoor Johari, who is taking this case seriously. So here I am today pleading that the council approves a bus shelter that is badly needed at the bus stop 1999 and have it approved at this meeting and installed as soon as possible. There are folk that do not use this bus stop because there is no protection from all types of weather conditions. Whilst the daily usage numbers may be less than required for a bus shelter, please note, with the increased costs of petrol and diesel, usage is likely to increase, and definitely more so with having a bus shelter. Requirements for approval of a bus shelter include possible dispensation for a retirement village and for people with disabilities. Somerset on Cavendish certainly meets those requirements. Whilst many residents have cars, there are also those who do not and are reliant on public transport or help from others. My request is for you to approve today at this meeting the installation of a bus shelter at bus stop 1999 Cavendish Road. Thank you for listening.
Right, thank you. Any questions from anyone? Aaron, so I have a couple of questions for you maybe.
Well, as you're probably aware, it's a numbers game, so a certain number of users triggers the bus shelters.
Very.
What would your summation be, or do you have an idea from other residents how many are not using it because there's not one there?
Oh my God, Malcolm, my darling husband can. I hate answering questions.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
I'll just make a point before I go on to that. On a Tuesday and a Friday, there are specific groups who use that bus stop. The first one is a walking group with a good number of people. And then on a Friday, there's upwards of 20 people who use the bus stop to go wherever. It's a bit of a mystery tour that they go on. Now, so therefore, you know, the usage is definitely increasing, and with the number of people in the village. Your question, could you repeat your questions?
How many people are not using the bus service or the bus stop because there's not a shelter?
It's quite a number.
Yeah.
Because it's open, there's no trees around, there's no shelter. It's Cavendish, it's quite a long road. The wind comes down. When it's sunny, it's too strong. It's exposed. Silly old seat, that's all I've got. And right opposite is this big village. There's a lot of people would like to use it. I've been fighting this, as I said, for several years. And this has to happen, guys. You have to do it. And as I said, you know,
I think you could get up to double the usage.
But so maybe another way of putting it, how many people that live there that can leave don't have a car? What percentage do you reckon would be?
Oh, I don't know that.
Half of there wouldn't have a car.
It wouldn't be half.
No.
Half would have a car.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So a quarter wouldn't have a car?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
That's just a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
There's a lot of, yeah.
Yeah, there's a good number of them, and they use the bus, and obviously if there's a shelter there, that would improve.
It's a lot more. Okay.
Oh, big time.
A lot more.
Yeah. Is that it?
Anyone?
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and you can have a copy if you want.
Really?
Okay. Thank you.
And our last deputation for today is Paul McCosker on the bus stop upgrades as well. And Rion Murphy. Okay, well, Murphy. Thank you very much for coming in, and again, 10 minutes including time for questions.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I can assure you I'm not a NIMBYs or as Rion. I have an apology from the submission that I provided earlier. The 1:30 bus run uses 10.5 metre buses, not the larger one. Now, the engineer made a statement there is a tree on our proposed site outside 66. There are trees on the existing bus stop at the school, just past the school, and also on the one on the corner of Merrin and Hawthornden, so we'd need to discount that. The notes that I've made since my submission, has ECAN been, or their stats quoted regarding the popularity of 130? And I know today we were looking with great interest the number of users, which is minimal. Will the changes in the bus stop proposal be cost effective? And I know it comes back to the cost before, a question before, I should say. And in my time, and Rion may confirm this, we'd be lucky to see 15 people a day using that bus stop outside the mall. So, hey, cost effectiveness, yeah. There was a board report done in 2023 in March that came to the board here, clause 12, item C, on the management plan for the area. There was no mention of the bus stop, and obviously that plan was put in place, budget allocated. This obviously is not part of the current approved budget, so curious to know if it'll come back to the board's discretionary fund. Our suggested site opposite 66 makes the school stop at Merrin School and the Hawthornden corner with Merrin Street are equidistant. I think there's about 16 metres difference between the one at Merrin Hawthornden corner down to the school site. Where are we? Okay. I'm not sure if there's a proposal to adjust the other bus stops, but I'd ask if the school have been consulted, if there was a change to the bus stop that were just past the school. And I know, talking to our neighbours, the communication for this was pretty poor. And I think it was just the units in our little corner townhouse settlement were the only ones that were invited. I was talking to a neighbour 3 residences away, and he pointed out that there was a bus stop there some 15 years ago. Why was it removed? And was it a safety issue, as we've outlined in our submissions? The interesting point was when I was doing checking, the council traffic data shows that Merrin Street is a Category C road, which indicates it's medium traffic density, and the fact that you're going to have a bus stop placed on a corner that has pretty heavy traffic. And like I said in my submission, I maintain that 1 in 56 cars goes up the south end of the west end of Merrin Street. So it's either down Withels Road to the left or Withels Road to the right. I think if the stop at outside our units, 56, it's going to create an issue with a bus on the stop and cars queuing up to turn into any one of the 3 car parks on the right. It'll be an issue for cyclists to try and move between the bus and those cars. Last month we had a collision with a driver thinking they could get between the cars that were going into the mall, and the person sideswiped the end car on the time zone. So just indicates what the safety issue will be there. Brian,
Well, I think Paul has covered most of the details that we've discussed over recent months since the proposal was set and sent to us, and I made a submission as well. And my concern is not because the bus stop's directly outside of my property. It'd be great in another few years when I can't drive a car anymore, when I just won't have far to go to the bus stop. But is safety. And because of the density of the traffic that travels down Merrin Street from Withels Road in both directions, but not to the west direction, Withels Road and Merrin Street is a very busy intersection, but it's that the traffic travelling towards the east that is the problem, which is past our residence on the corner. When I first went there 11, 12 years ago now, one of my greatest concerns, we had an elderly lady living in the flat behind us, and she had tremendous trouble driving out of the driveway because of the cars that were parked in the single bus stop, the single cars parking space on the right. If you've got a large vehicle sitting there, you just could not see down towards the roundabout, and cars swept around the corner at high speed, almost on top of before she'd made a decision to progress forward. And similarly, those accelerating around the roundabout from the southern end of Withels Road, turning right into Merrin Street, accelerated quickly once they got round the roundabout, and that still happens. My wife is now slightly immobilised. She's got a walking stick and a walker, and I've seen her standing there before she could jaywalk across that road for 20 minutes before she could actually wait to get enough space to walk across safely. And of course, with the school at morning time at about between 8 and 9, and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that congestion is just intensified because of the number of cars that are in queues. And you get the worries of people who are parked in parking spaces pulling out, and the traffic in queues, and it's an accident waiting to happen. So my reason for my complaint of not having it there is because of the safety to pedestrians. There is no pedestrian crossing across that street from the left-hand side if you're going east, and therefore that anybody who'd be alighting from a bus or getting onto a bus and wanting to go across to the mall would have to jaywalk across the road, which is the intersection's got the walkway through round the roundabout, of course, and that is equidistant from the suggested place we suggested outside of 66 or 68 on the other side of the street, which is not really congested by that busy traffic. So that's really the basis for our wise decision, we think, and that's probably a better place to have a new bus stop positioned closer to the roundabout corner. If you want to remove any trees, I suggest you look at the one outside of 44, which is a sycamore tree, and I'm forever picking up seedlings out of my garden.
Good do.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions from anyone? Nicola?
Thank you, Nicola.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks, Rion. Obviously, with the new Harcourts building that's just recently opened and the other development opposite Merrin School, traffic has become increasingly at times, especially at the school times, it's pretty bad. And I've noticed 2 cars all lined up. So I imagine with the bus there, what you're saying, I can understand that completely. Kids, you know, coming out, trying to cross the road and a bus trying to, I do understand, your concerns, safety concerns. And I notice that the other side of the road where people alight off that bus, they don't go up to the roundabouts to cross. They just jaywalk straight across anyway, which is a safety concern. So I do understand that. And I was at high school, I believe, when there was a bus stop there before, and it was removed for safety concerns. And I feel like it's worse now than it was at that time. So thank you very much for your submissions.
Yeah. If I could just say, bolstering Rion's comment about the speed of traffic coming round the roundabout, I've seen some fairly close tail to nose, collisions. People seem to put their foot down as soon as they get around, and they obviously don't look ahead to see, 4 or 5 cars waiting to get into either Bailey's, the Merrin Shopping Centre or the mall. So, boy, there's been some pretty close ones.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's really useful feedback. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we move on to item number 6, being a presentation of petitions, of which there are none. So from there, we will move on to the staff reports. So the first staff report today is the Jeffreys Reserve bike jump trial and future options. Millie Stead, are you on that?
So last year, a clay bike jump trial was approved by the board.
Sorry, one sec. Stead everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's go down.
So last year, a clay bike jump trial was approved by the board for a period of 8 months. So staff organised clay so the kids could build jumps, supervise the initial build, and have continued to monitor the site on a monthly basis. So in summary of the trial, we saw the jumps were used by a really wide range of people, more than we initially expected. So when I was down there on my monthly checks, I'd often see toddlers on balance bikes, as well as more experienced older riders. And so I think through that, the jumps did support with the kids who built them, skill building and progression, social connection, and importantly, just with the whole user groups that we saw, just kids getting out and active. They were also used surprisingly by the council cycle skills safety teams, which shows that it does have broader value beyond casual recreation. Some considerations, admittedly, the clay material that we used hasn't held up particularly well over time at the site. I think that's probably just due to a bit of erosion, compaction, and I think that's caused a few visual and amenity concerns, which is totally fair. And those have informed our options that we've presented today. So on the whole, majority of submitters for the consultation support making the bike jump area permanent, so 66%, with 5% somewhat supporting and 29% who do not support. So this shows that there is clear demand for a designated area, but we need direction on how the space is going to look going forward. So that brings us to the options, which is we've got 3. So we've got a permanent asphalt bike jump feature. So that's kind of a higher upfront cost, but lower maintenance and staff time going forward. It's more durable, so there'll be less, hopefully, visual and amenity concerns from the degradation of the material we've got now. However, the kids can't adapt that jump, and so it is fixed. So this option is definitely recommended from an operational and maintenance perspective, but does also encompass the sort of wider user group we had beyond the kids who just wanted to build it. Second option we've got is to retain the clay jumps we have there now, with the option to remediate them with a slightly different material. I will say, the monthly checks and constantly responding to things like tickets can take a lot of staff time. And so that's probably the downside of retaining the clay, is there will need to be continued operational input from staff to make sure that that continues to be safe and functional. But it does still prioritise the flexibility of the kids being involved as well. And also there were some informal digging activities happening prior to this trial starting as well. So we do have to consider that might be an option if we did remove that clay entirely. And the third option would be to remove the jumps completely and end the trial. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much. Might be a few questions, so we'll start with David and then go to James.
Thank you very much, and Megan, thank you. You touched just on secondary digging, so that, from my recollection from being slightly longer in the tooth around the table than some, was down Fendalton Park. Do we know of any recent complaints or things done there?
Not for Plinlimmon. When this came to the board about a year ago, it was partially born out of some tickets that we'd received for some informal digging in Waimāero Reserve, which is slightly adjacent to Jeffreys. We haven't received any tickets about Plinlimmon since that incident.
There is evidence
How
of
about
nature
Fendalton
play and
Park?
stuff all around Plinlimmon still, but I haven't seen the jumps when I've been through.
Thank you, Megan.
Okay, James?
Thanks for that. Look, if you use sort of more suitable material like the rocks and clay that's alluded to in the report, would you expect that might be able to reduce some of the operational toll on staff that they've been experiencing for the past 8 months?
We hope so, but we can't guarantee that. There still is going to be some upkeep required with any soft landscaping material that we use as opposed to asphalt.
A couple of questions from me just on those. So what kind of tickets was it that you guys were getting in regards to that? It'd be interesting to understand what that looks like.
So
So tickets related from during the time of the trial.
Time of the trial, yes, absolutely. So we received one SNAPS and solve regarding the condition of the jumps. That was it was not looking good in winter.
Yep.
Fair enough. One complaint reported to the service centre completely opposing the jumps. That was shortly after it was approved. And then one email in support of a full-scale asphalted pump track in the reserve. So we received 3 tickets over the trial period.
Okay, so 3 tickets over the 8 months period. Okay. And just to, I guess I might be repeating what David said here. In terms of from during that trial period, could you say that there was less, I guess, what would you say, guerrilla digging in surrounding areas because of that, or would you not have enough information to make a comment around that?
I wouldn't have enough information. We didn't receive any tickets relating to digging in this particular reserve or Waimāero Reserve.
Yeah.
It's probably like a citywide thing that we get requested and we see evidence of. So it's not just isolated to Fendalton. Like there's numerous requests for being able to build your own jumps, and we're trying to work on a way to process these requests and how we can work with the community to allow them to happen.
Yep.
So this is kind of also not just been a trial for here, it's been more of a trial of how Millie could manage this in other reserves as well.
And in regards to accidents or safety issues, were there any reports to the council around any serious accidents or safety issues observed?
There was one as part of the complaint to the service centre about some antisocial language used by some kids that were on it. But in terms of incidents, no, we didn't receive anything.
Okay. And then in regards to general antisocial behaviour or police reports or anything like that that may be associated with the council facilities around the area, was there anything specifically that you could link to the trial, well, around the trial period of that being put in place?
Not off the top of my head.
Not that you guys have deliberately. Okay. Any other questions from anyone on that? Aaron?
Well, everyone's finished with questions.
Yep.
I'm happy to move option 2.
Second. We'll see. Well,
and can we do that for another 1 year and then reassess? Because I struggle to support option 1 because I've literally been contacted by no one asking for an asphalt situation in there. So unless we get a number of deputations and people coming and asking us to spend 15 grand, I'm very reluctant, but happy to, and because I sit more in the camp that, you know, the boys especially like to form and shape and make something, and so, and they're pretty rare in the city, so keep that going. But if it's not used or the behaviour is really bad, then pull it out in a year. Would be where I'd sit. So happy to move option 2, that we just monitor it for another year, and if it's working and the behaviour is good, can carry it on. Or if we get a big request for asphalt, we look to do that. But if the behaviour is really bad and it's upsetting the neighbours, then I think we pull it, because, you know, it's their park as well.
Okay,
So through you, Mr. Chair, that sort of looks like a 3A, which is 3, approve option 2, 3A, extend the trial for a further 12 months. And report back to the board.
is the rest of the board comfortable with that?
But also happy if we got major issues within that time to pull it earlier if we had to.
Good
And we
look at the
could,
usage
yeah,
as well,
yeah.
to see.
because then that can be fed back to any antisocial users that might come in there and say, look, if you start using bad language around the neighbours, then we'll just take the thing out.
If we approved it permanently and we were getting requests, we would still be able to remove it later on.
Would that
It's under
would that
normal
have to come to
provisions.
the board for a relatively quick turnaround decision though in that scenario? Would you guys be able to do that under a delegation perhaps?
I'm also mindful of youth having the opportunity to make mistakes. Like they need to have spaces to be able to express themselves, but also own up to what they've done wrong. And maybe, I don't know, I think if that was happening all the time, yes, we'd remove it. But I think there's got to be a learning from that as well, because we want them to grow up to be positive members of our community. And I just hate when things are always just like removed because of something, and it might not be the local kids that are doing it. And those local kids have a lot on their shoulders to manage and influence other kids to behave the right way. So yeah, I think just being mindful of that is important as well.
Okay, that's useful context. Thank you very much. Right, is it willing? What have we got? We're happy with that.
So that would involve a staff report in the same context that it's been.
Yeah, with just updated data, I suppose. But the crux of it's already there.
Yeah, I suppose it could be a very short report.
It doesn't have to be a long one.
Is there anything specifically that you'd like that report to include? You could maybe let us know as time goes by in the year.
Yeah, we can probably do they're pretty good, and they'll probably be based on some of the feedback around some of the concerns that have been raised in the deputations in the meeting, just to make sure we're tracking any information on that we can possibly have to make a informed decision on that one. Okay, if we're all comfortable with that, then Aaron, you're happy to move that? Ben, you are happy to second? Okay. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much, team. Thank you very much, everybody, for your feedback on this matter. That is item number 7, and if anyone wants to hang around for the Gardens Road shared path and bus stops, they're more than welcome to. Otherwise, now is an opportunity to go home and have some dinner. Right, item number 8 is the Gardens Road shared path. We have Catherine Jones.
Good afternoon. I'm Catherine Jones. I'm the project manager for the Gardeners Road Shared Path project. I've got with me this evening May Wong. She's my scheme designer, and I've got Matt Goldring, my team leader. I'm happy to just give a brief overview of what's in the report, or cool. So we've got 2 stages of the shared path in this report. We've got stage 1, which is the section that would run from Wilkinson's Road to Sticks Mill Road. And we're looking at 2 options with that one. We'd either install a 1.5 meter grit pathway, that would be an interim measure, or we do nothing. The stage 2 section, which would run just south of Sticks Mill Road to Claridge's Road, and then around I believe it's the northeastern side of Claridge's Road as well. We've got 3 options there. One option would be to install the 2.5 meter asphalt pathway with minimal lighting upgrades. Another option would be to install the pathway, but then have full lighting upgrades on the western side of the roadway. And then the third option would be to do nothing there. So that's what we're looking at in the report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, yeah, I'll start on this one, and then if anyone else has any questions they want to raise, please jump in after that. So firstly, I'll just be keen to understand, because we did raise some concerns around people just, taking the crow flies approach between what is that, Sticks Mill Road. Yeah, with the end of the, I guess, wetland or reserve part there, not going into the reserve and just riding along that footpath. I'd be keen to understand, do we have an idea of how much additional cost it would be to RIT and or seal that part of the pathway?
So I did look at that, and it was about an additional 150 meters of pathway would be to run it parallel to the road.
Yep.
And based on the costs that we have for the rest of the sealed pathway, I think I estimate to be roughly about a $200,000 to $300,000 additional.
Okay. Cool. So one thing I would maybe be keen, so I'll let some other questions go, but might be keen to have a look at is put some kind of monitoring period in for 6 months' time and just observe the user behaviour, because if we find that for that 150, 200 metres, people aren't going into the reserve and using that and just using the road, it kind of defeats the purpose of some of the safety improvements we're trying to make. So it'd be good to build in some kind of observation period and then, if necessary, retrofit the cheapest possible option we can, whether that's a grit extension or something along the outside, because yeah, it would be a shame to have a this whole length done, which is great, and then have a section which is actually not that safe and people still just ride across it, and then heaven forbid you have an accident or something in that particular section. So it'd just be great to build that in. That would be something that I would be keen to consider. Did anyone else, Aaron, Lucy, have questions on that?
Yeah, so I thought last time that was presented to us, Jason, you'd given a pretty clear steer that we did want a path along that section, because our observations are that few people that take their life into their own hands at the moment and use Gardeners Road and walk on the white line, when that path's there and they're not using it, like literally no one goes in there unless they're there to walk around that park. They're not using it now, so I don't know why that would change. Do we have a reason why?
Or maybe another way to phrase it is, was the primary driver for going inside of the park budgetary impacts? And then if we didn't want to take that approach, would there be any significant issues making the amendment, which would then obviously have an impact on the budget? But would that, what would that look like?
I think a main driver for that, yes, was a budgetary cost, especially with the cost it being. Now, having said that, if it's the board's desire to want to monitor that and then look at installing a section there, we're happy to have that as part of the resolutions, yes.
One more question from me on that one. There are generally contingencies built into all of these budgets, right? Like you have a contingency threshold. If we find that the project cost comes within the contingency threshold and there is enough there to potentially fund just a grit path over that potentially, but how difficult, or what would the approval process look like for you guys to then just take that monitoring feedback, go, okay, we've got X amount left in the original budget plus contingency, and just go ahead and do that? Would that be something you'd be able to do, or what would that process look like from your perspective? Because if we have to come back for another decision, you have to find more budget from somewhere and get approval from council or from community board, it will slow things down quite significantly. So it'd be good to understand what that looks like.
Yeah. So I think in terms,
I think
we should be able to, yes.
Have to give a formal answer on that, but I think yes, in principle, we could do that if there's contingency left over at the end. And that's your desire for us to come back with options. I think I'll come back to you in a formal answer once I can speak to our program manager, but yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's a case, Aaron?
So the other one is around the cost and the additional 200 or 300 for that block there. And my eyes were watering when I read this report at the cost. Why is it so expensive? Because I got a quote on this, and I was checking my phone, it was in 2018, and it was to do the whole road from Wilkinson's all the way to Sawyer's Arms, and the price I got in 2018 was about 156,000, and we're more than 10 times that now.
So we do our best during the detailed design period we've got standards and specs we have to meet. We do our best to value engineer as much as we can. Our cost estimate does have contingency built into it, and it is based off the latest market rates. So it's just a cost estimate. Hopefully, as we've seen on a couple of projects, prices come a little bit lower.
Okay.
But this is our best guess based on current market rates for the design that we've done.
Because also the other section from the edge of the reserve to Claridge's is a 2.5 metre shared path. Happy with the 2, if it means, or even a 1.8 if it means we get that other strip done up to Sticks Mill. I think for that area, it's essentially it's a rural road, and so when we originally got it on budget and in the board plan in 2017, it was to do it like they do out in Selwyn, which I think most of their paths are about 1.6, which are shared paths all the way to the uni, but they've got to do kilometres, so they can't do 2.5, but this would only have about a similar usage. So I don't see, it's not the coastal pathway. It's not going to have those numbers of people. So certainly being skinnier down to, what's a standard footpath? 1.6 is our preferred. 1.5, okay, so 1.8 would be plenty down there. That's 2 prams passing, 2 e-bikes, whatever. And so if it was 1.8, then we would have enough to do that extra patch close to, I would have thought.
Probably have to run the numbers on it, but it certainly would get us close, yes.
Yeah, that'd be my preference, Jason, versus the 2.5 from the rest of it. That's 2.5 is pretty wide.
Yep.
That's 1.8 there.
So Aaron, would you propose
Well, like redesigning on the fly, but
no, and this is the thing, can we?
And like literally this morning when I'm coming back from dropping Harry off, the girl that walks along there every day that goes to the Christian school on Sawyer's Arms walks along the white line in her dark uniform and will do for the entire winter.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
just not cool.
So what was can you just I was just reading through some of the details there. Again,
So if the path was a 1.8
yeah,
shared path, noting that most footpaths are 1.5 and that passes 2 prams, but 1.8 just because we're going from 2.5, that then that the square meterage of asphalt should mean that if you're taking a third of the width off,
reduction in that cost would then be able to be
should be very close to. I don't think it would.
Yeah.
If it was still over, wouldn't be out by a lot.
I don't imagine that's a decision we could just make on the fly now, and you guys would need to go away and have a look at that. If you were to go away and do that, and we were to leave this on the table, would you be able to would that be the type of thing you'd be able to get back to us for a decision at the board meeting next month?
Do you think that's possible?
Would that be possible to turn around in 4 weeks? Well, and then
It's probably about 2 weeks now.
Yeah, we could try to work to that.
you could try to work to that, yeah. Because I think it'd probably be worth from our perspective just taking a little bit longer, and if that is a viable option to reduce that and actually just get that resolved without any other budgetary requirements, without any kind of additional observation or staff cost monitoring that, and then additionally coming back to us, then I think it would probably be worth an extra 4 to 8 weeks just in this kind of the planning stage to get that across the line.
Yeah, and then the other one, because in the report it had about the lighting, the street lighting, that's fair enough. Are we allowed, so I've gone online and ordered a solar powered street light. Will we be allowed to trial that somewhere on the path? Would we get permission to just put that on a pole somewhere on the path and see if it works? Because they're so much cheaper than doing it through connectors and stuff like that, because you're not connecting to power. It's literally a solar powered street light, and see if it actually works like
to speak to our transport asset team, see if they'll let us, but we can take that away.
Yeah, I'm happy
to approve that here,
yeah, I mean, it's got a 12-hour life on it, 4.5-hour charge. If the panel's facing the sun, that doesn't guarantee it'll work, but.
Yeah, so I guess if taking Aaron's question into consideration, if you go away and having a look at it and the answer is no, we can't do option A being that slice reduction, then I guess we could probably get this back to, because there'd be no change really in the in the report and the resolution, maybe get it back to the board next meeting. And if there is some work to be done and we can get it back to the next meeting, that'd be great. Or if at the later, if it's possible, the meeting after that would be,
that'd be the preference. See, I spoke to Phil about it earlier today and he was questioning why the path's so wide.
Okay. Right.
See it a lot narrower.
That would then, we get what we
Hopefully
want.
gives us enough.
There's less staff admin on it over the longer term, so.
But the rest of it was all good, everything made sense.
Okay, well, I think David?
Just unrelated question. So obviously we're doing our level of service LTP conversations at the moment. So your comment was that's our regulation. So is that something that we need to look at? Are the rules from your point of view too cumbersome? No, you had to go to the well, that's what I thought you said. That the criteria that you have, the design criteria you have to go.
Standard specifications.
Are they too awkward to work with? Do they need to be changed?
Is there enough flexibility?
Yeah. Because obviously you would have
probably a bit too philosophical for today, David, but we'll see if we've got.
I know this is a conversation for later, but maybe we could go offline later after this and you could let me know, because if there's an opportunity to change those criteria now, then we should be looking at it.
Although I think the start point for a shared path being 2.5 makes sense. That extra width, because it's a shared path, it's just down there being semi-rural. It doesn't have the volume that most shared paths would have. So that was why I was suggesting to go narrower, not saying there's a problem with the standard they normally work to. Clarify.
Is the rest of the board comfortable with that approach?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, team, and thanks for your patience on this issue. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so can I get a mover, Aaron to move? Can I get a second to leave that on the table? Lucy, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried, thank you. Right, item number 9, bus stop upgrades. Mansour? Just you here today?
Come to wood. Would you like a brief summary of the report, or would you like to take the report out with
questions?
Shall we go straight to
questions? Yep. Right, who's up first? Aaron.
You probably know what this one's going to be. So the Cavendish Road outside Somerset. Can we do it? Can we just add it on today? We just saved 15 grand on the, or 14,000 on a bike ramp. So
yes, if committee board approve it, yeah.
So I'll move the.
Hang on a second.
I'll add that to the recommendations that are going to go.
It's in there.
It's in there.
It's in there.
I think your question was, can we
There's
move
199 in there.
Mirren?
1999, isn't it?
No, that wasn't in there. There's a different. It's further down Cavendish Road. It's in there.
That's 150 Cavendish Road. There's no 199 Cavendish Road on there. That is the bus stop.
Yeah.
That's the bus stop number.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Talking
okay.
about the same thing.
It's the same one.
So, sorry.
And
Confusion.
hang on, is that recommendation to add a shelter or just to add a seat?
Shelter.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that makes more sense then.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, easy.
It's like a bit earlier.
Yeah, that's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Right, moving on to further questions.
Mirren Street, I don't know if Aidan can bring up that map, but it's got Mirren Street in it. It was a gentleman that talked about moving it from 66 to 56, or was it the other way
No,
around?
the other way around.
Six.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. If there's a, why would we not do that?
Well,
if we decide to like proceed with these bus stop, it's either 56 or 66. We are going to lose 2 more parking if we go to 66, and also split it up, remove one a tree. I think around the roundabout with those land users, the parking is sort of high demand, so the preferred option that we are proposing, we are just losing 2 parking, while the other one is losing 4. And in terms of like, I noticed that there are some perceived safety concern. I can explain to them if you wish.
I just have a couple, obviously, that's my bus stop, number 130. I use the buses a lot. And unfortunately, there isn't a lot of patronage on the 130 bus. I'm not keen because of I perceive a safety risk there as well, because when I'm driving my car, all these cars trying to turn right into the Avonhead Mall. Big queue, people trying to come out, kids, and if there was a bus there as well, it's just kids everywhere, especially at Picket Bats. And I remember when I think I was a high school student, when there was a bus stop there, and it was removed for safety reasons back then. It was in like 1992-ish. So it was a wee while, it was a wee way back. Obviously, the Somerset residents and Avonhead as well, they want to use the bus and they have a wee bit of a walk to get to the bus stop at the top of Merrin Street. But did you realise that if they get on the bus stop at the top of Merrin Street and they go all the way down, it's only the bus goes down the roundabout and comes back and parks outside the park for a couple of minutes, then goes back up and can stop right outside on the other side of Avonhead Mall when they don't have to cross the road, and they can get off there safely, and then get back on the same side and go back up. I don't know if people are aware that they can do that, because that's the end of the bus line, just a little bit down past the second roundabout, it comes back round and then it parks. You know, that loop that it does, and it's only like another block. And sometimes the bus has to stay at the park for a couple more minutes, sometimes it's 5 minutes. And then it can drive back up past there. That's an option. I'm just thinking if we're trying to save money, or we put the bus stop back at 66. The bus stop in the middle of Merrin Street has a tree on that side too. How come we have to remove the tree outside 66?
Well, with the current practice that we do, if we are going to do a new bus stop, we try to provide like the minimum standard, which currently also include like providing a 9 meters, like a hard stand area. And sometimes it needs to remove a tree. In your previous point, honestly, the current spacing is not too bad.
It's not too bad.
It's like 200 meters.
Are you talking about at 56 Merrin Street?
No, like
6
with the next bus stop, which is like
there's like 210 meters or something. So it's
and I also agree with you on the route 130 user.
Yeah.
So one idea that we could move on is that ECAN is currently doing a network-wide review and on all the routes, and so we potentially can like table these. See what will be the outcome of the ECAN review. Are they going to change these routes?
Change the routes, yes.
Change the frequency, or the items like that, and then we review that decision.
Because I feel too, even if it was outside 66, people then at least they are crossing on, there's a little bridge in the middle, at least I know they have to cross 2 roads then, rather than if they'd got off at that they probably would highly likely jaywalk. Most people would not walk back up to the roundabout. So to me, with the school kids, with people going around the roundabout really fast, with cyclists, having it right there, yes, you are losing I think it's 180 minutes of parking there. But outside 66, all the staff at Ravenhead Mall park there anyway. So the residents don't have their parking anyway because they're parking there. So we're kind of in an awkward situation. I would say don't do it. I'm really concerned about the area. I totally understand why you want to do it. I'm really all for buses and people having accessibility to buses, but get on the bus, come right round, and then it's really safe. A little bit of an extra 5-minute bus ride maybe, and they can get off safely on the other side of the road, or we use 66, or wait till ECAN does a review, because the patronage is not very high on the 130 bus, and it only goes to Riccarton, doesn't go into the city. So, and then we've got the number 3 bus right there as well. So,
do you maybe have a recommendation then, or any amendments you want to make to the to that? Will it just be
I think it's probably best to leave it on the table.
Leave it on the table, like you said, and then come back and revisit.
Can we actually do that? Do we consult on putting it outside 66? You would have to consult.
Yeah.
Like we move from 56, no matter what we do, we have to reconsult.
We have to reconsult for the 66, yeah. We consider that option as a not reasonably practicable because we are losing 4 parking with that option, honestly.
Yeah.
And
but ECAN they could also reconsult bus routes as well. Is that what you're saying?
That's what they were doing.
Because, and are we better to park it because we've got all of Hawthornton Road with Somerset down there that has nothing. They have to have quite a wee walk to get to the top. So maybe we park it. I'm sorry.
No, I think we can table this until the ECAN's review is finished and we have the outcome of that review, and then we revise.
But just my opinion is that outside that 50, that's not a good idea anyway. So if we reconsult,
we table. Opinion of the outcome. Let's do that. Yeah.
But will we pass everything else?
Yes.
Just pass everything else.
Roll up his sleeves.
No, great.
But my main concern with the Merrion Street one is, like, I've lived there my entire life. That roundabout, we're now funneling people back to walk across the road at the roundabout. And as the deputation said, the traffic there in the morning is almost backed up around the roundabout. So I think if we add a bus that's 40 metres away from the intersection, I think we're just looking for a problem that's going to happen. Because I think, did you say there was one down there?
Stop. There was a bus stop outside 56 when I was at high school quite a few years ago, and they removed it because of safety issues, which now it's worse than it was 5 years ago. No, 35 years ago. So
Aiden's got that under control. So with those in mind, did anyone have any other questions around any of the other bus stops on the agenda?
No.
Good. Do they have to move it? Is Nicola, are you happy to move those motions there? Yep, Nicola is. And then Aaron's happy to second. Once Aiden finishes typing.
That's great. Brilliant. Love you guys.
It's all done. It's champagne.
Oh, yeah, well, we're going round.
Thank you.
Tell us where to make it.
In the address first. That's right. So what you want to stop at 66 be an option when it comes back, if it comes back.
Maybe we
probably won't be coming back. We don't want it to come back until after the year.
After the that would be the preferred. I mean, that would be quite. But then, maybe.
So I'll say requests.
It would be good to look at what he can say first, and if they're proposing to change things or routes or that would be good.
We have a few, but we've done before. It's coming.
You're a champion. So you'll give us a heads up. when it's going to be installed, when it's.
Cut the ribbon.
Yeah. Oh, I thought we actually head down to Somerset and invite them over and actually do a ribbon day for a bus shelter that people want.
I think you should.
Yeah.
You're really good.
Really fun.
Get filled down.
Get filled in, yeah.
Get a champagne
We
bottle.
won't get on the bus, but we'll get on the bus stop.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get on the bus, we can get on the bus.
I love the buses.
Not bad to get it done before.
Yep, okay, that sounds good. All right, and Nicola was happy to move and we had Aaron speak in there. Hayden? Right, all in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Appreciate all your work on that. Bus stops can be tricky.
Yes.
All right, community board area report. I imagine we are taking that as read, Aidan, otherwise will you be answering any questions we may have on that? Natalie, okay, does anyone have any questions on the area report today?
No.
No? Okay, that's great. We need to move that one, don't we? We'll accept that. I'm happy to move that. Can I get a second of that one, please? James, happy to second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Fantastic. Elected members information exchange. Who's got some information to exchange? Aaron?
I'll flick one in the mix. So had a bit of really bad feedback recently re Nunwick Park toilets. So they're pretty shabby old toilets anyway, and I've got a response back from staff that it'll be 2030 before there's an upgrade to those toilets, but they're being locked on Saturdays when there's literally more than 1,000 people in the park.
Yep.
Because there's an overflow with the crappy old pump system that overflows and runs into the creek.
So what's the?
So I went back, I just sent it straight to Rupert today. And he's going to find out what's going wrong and come back to me.
Can't really have 1,000 people using a park and not have any toilet facilities available, can you?
Locked, yeah, so.
The advice I got was if they have to lock them again, then they'll
bring in portaloos. Yeah, which is quite a bit of a waste of money and things, but the lid, so there, the pollution comes out of the toilets, goes into a big round pit that has a lid on it. And we did have a period where there was no lock on the lid and kids were pulling it off and potentially could fall in. Yeah, so it's been a mess for a while. I did throw a radical suggestion at Rupert that we could carve off 500 square metres of the park on one of the sides, sell a section, use the money to put in some really nice facilities. So at that point, he emailed me back really quickly when I made that suggestion.
We went public.
Yeah, but that would work well around there. I'm just saying.
That'd be great precedent to set that, wouldn't it?
Sounds pretty sensible.
It does, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It just sounds far too sensible.
Off 500 metres.
You know, any councillors could raise a notice of motion on that one. Anyone else have anything else to share?
I feel like I did have something.
Oh, maybe save it for next time?
Yeah, we'll save it.
Looking forward to it,
Put
Lucy.
it down next time if I remember.
All right, that looks like we're coming to a close. So that will be the end of the elected members information exchange.
Not Tui Street, Chipslow. We got any update on that?
No, I was leaving that in your court with Mr. Wright.
Okay, I know Mr. Wright, Steve Wright, he said he's going to do a report.
Okay.
Okay, done.
Excellent.
He's actually getting stuff done. So.
Okay, great. So, well, then we will stand for the karakia and then we will close the formal proceeding part of the meeting and move on to the information session.
Unuhia, ki te uru tapanui, kia wā te a, ke mama, te nākau, te tinana, te wairua, I te ara takata, koi ara e rongo, pakakairia ake ki runga, kia tina.
Tina, hui e taike. Thank you, everybody. And with that, we close the meeting at 5:53 PM and we'll have a very quick break and then kick off